Time to do it. Time to do it.
Welcome guys to the first installment of the D&S Files. This is Don, I'm Schepis, and we're here to give you digestible science. And today we're going to be talking about protein. So Lyndon, talk to us about the role and function of protein.
Protein is a macronutrient that contributes to our total daily calorie intake. Protein provides 4 calories per gram, and its role and function within the body is to provide the raw materials for structure and repair. So if you ask someone on the street what's protein used for, they'll commonly say for muscle growth or for repair of muscle, to prevent soreness and these kinds of things. While this is predominantly true, protein also has other uses, like it is used to produce pretty much every cell within the body, like hair, skin, nails, your organs, enzymes made up of protein. These are all things that protein contributes towards. It is not just simply muscle, so it has many functions and uses within the body, and they should not be overlooked when considering the importance of protein. When we ingest protein, we get a spike of protein synthesis within the body. The body just senses that protein is coming in, so it's going to try and store and make use of it. At the same time though, there is always a turnover and degradation of protein within the body. There's this constant cycle, like a revolving door, of protein coming in and protein being broken down. So this is something that is considered with nutrient timing and meal timing and your protein. People have seen that eating protein spikes muscle protein synthesis, so they will then try and capitalize that by eating 10 times a day. However, our body's very good at regulating itself, so it will minimize the effect of each meal when it senses that meals are coming in more frequently. In contrast to this, if people eat very drawn out periods between their meals, the body will slip into net breakdown, but it will also counteract this by being relatively sensitive to the amount of protein that comes in after that long period without protein. So if you asked us what the ideal amount of timing of protein is probably within about the 3 to 5 hour mark. This lets you sort of resensitize to the properties of protein, but without slipping into net protein breakdown for too long, because what's the point in being sensitive to protein if you've only become sensitive to protein by breaking down muscle tissue leading up to that? We don't want to look to recover muscle and then build some more. We just sort of want to build some more before we've already lost muscle.
What's really important to understand is that the amount of protein the body needs is very much dictated by the context in which we talk about protein. So for fat loss, we're at an energy imbalance. That is, the body has less energy available than what it is expending on a daily or weekly, monthly basis. Therefore, this gives rise to important considerations for our protein intake. When we're dieting in a fat loss phase, we are at a greater risk of losing lean body mass. For this purpose, protein intake should increase. We also become hungry during a fat loss phase. Protein is one of the most satiating macronutrients by stimulating peptide YY. Protein also has the highest thermic effect of feeding, meaning that the body burns more calories in digesting protein than it does the other macronutrients. And for this reason, high protein diets have been suggested to have a metabolic advantage when compared to low to moderate protein intakes. Research conducted by Eric Helms recommend between 1.8 to 2.2 grams of protein in the context of a fat loss phase. This helps retain lean body mass, maximize satiation without compromising intake of other macronutrients, and also capitalize on the metabolic advantages that protein has for our fat loss efforts. Other contexts that we're going to talk about are muscle gain and as we age through our training career. So Lyndon, talk to us about protein in the context of muscle gain.
Cool. So when we're looking to gain muscle, as we've touched on with synthesis versus breakdown, we need a net balance of more protein synthesis than breakdown. This is what leads to muscle growth and hypertrophy over time. So our way of maximizing this is eating protein as frequently as we can throughout the day while stimulating the maximal response as many times as we can. So in order to get the maximal response of muscle growth from a single protein feeding, you need to hit what's known as the leucine threshold. So leucine is an amino acid. Amino acids are what's known as the building blocks of protein. Multiple amino acids are strung together and then bound in a certain shape, and that produces a protein. So leucine is the most anabolic of the amino acids. It signals to turn on muscle growth. That's its job. It's essentially like the foreman at a construction site. Work doesn't go on at the construction site without the foreman saying, all right, time to do it. That's what leucine does. Leucine has been shown to maximally stimulate muscle growth at about 3 grams. So in order to get 3 grams of leucine, you potentially probably need to take in about 20 to 25 grams of a high quality protein. This is why protein quality matters and makes a difference, as well as sensitivity to protein.
So in the context of a muscle growth phase when we're in a calorie surplus, do we need as much protein as what we do when we're in a fat loss phase?
No, like we don't need as much protein. Whether you want to eat as much protein when you're in a fat loss phase is up to you, but benefits have been shown to top out at about 1 gram per pound of body weight, or 2.2 grams per kilo. Protein in a surplus, and when you're looking to gain weight and muscle, will blunt appetite, which potentially may be an issue. As well, you may just be over-consuming protein and then thus under-consuming other things such as fats, which are very good for health and hormonal joint properties, and carbohydrates, which have many energy and mood benefits. So don't neglect other macronutrients and other aspects of your diet just because protein has been shown to be beneficial.
So you spoke about protein quality, Lyndon. Talk to the guys about how not all protein is created equally.
Alright, cool. Although protein is protein, it does go beyond that. It's kind of like looking at cars on the street. Yes, all cars on the street are cars. Some are BMWs, some are Toyota Corollas. At the end of the day, we're trying to put as many BMWs into our muscle and our body as we can in order to get the best result. Eating 20 grams of protein from a plant source is not going to have the same effect in stimulating muscle growth as eating 20 grams of protein from an animal source. The reason this is the case is because of amino acid profile, and it predominantly goes back to leucine. But as I said before, leucine is the foreman on a construction site. Even if you have a foreman there, you still need all the materials for construction to take place. If you run out of nails or bricks or cement or whatever you're constructing, I don't know much about construction, I went to uni and studied science, but if you run out of any type of material and that is the factor holding you back, construction will stop. And this is why we don't only need to just focus on consuming adequate leucine, but consuming adequate amounts of all the amino acids. So you can opt for animal-based proteins like eggs and dairy, meat, which have a very good amino acid profile, or if you prefer to eat a plant-based diet, you can look to combine certain plant-based proteins in order to complement each other. So things such as rice and beans, while they're not complete on their own, consumed together, they do form a very complete amino acid profile.
So guys, that is the digestible science on protein. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked this video. We're going to give you some key takeaways now, so get your pen and paper handy to take some notes.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.